Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Light series. I am so excited to have my guest Anna here today. But for those of you that don't know me, I am Elizabeth, and this series came to me to help have really elevated conversations to help awaken your inner power, your inner light, and help elevate the world. And for me, I am the creator of the Purpose and Abundance Activator method, which help dissolves your blocks, your limitations, and help calibrate your frequency to the next level of your purpose and your abundance that you're meant for. So let's get right into it. Anna, thank you so much for being here today. I'm so excited for this topic. It's just so powerful, and it's a topic that I still struggle with as a spiritual person to like wrap my head around, but I'm going to let you introduce yourself, your topic, what you do, all the good stuff.
Thank you so much, Elizabeth. I'm so excited to be here. I am an astrocartographer. My name is Anna Benner, and I'm also an intuitive guide. And my goal is to provide practical advice for spiritual transformation through astrocartography, through leaning into what's inside of you as opposed to looking externally. And the best way to start with that is your environment because you
Mm.
are the flower. You don't get mad at the flower for not growing, for not reaching its alignment, its fulfillment. You curate an environment in which the flower can bloom and grow. And that is very much representative of my journey and what I try to do for my clients.
Oh, I love that so much. So, I mean, astrocartography, like some people may have never even heard of that yet. It's associated with astrology, yes. So, can you just give us a little bit more detail about what that is and how it helps you in your life?
Absolutely. So it is locational astrology. So, the moment that you took your first breath, you basically have the planets. This is the sun, right? All the planets are around it. That's a snapshot. And it's a snapshot from Earth. So it's a little bit skewed. And so what it is it's the juxtaposition of those planetary placements
Hmm.
above your chart and onto the geographical map. So
Okay.
essentially where they sit, they create these shadow lines that basically show certain places on earth where you will have this experience or this energetic theme. And so, what I try to do is based on your goals, whether that's love, career, family, kids, all these things, I try to give you a place to experience that, to live that version of yourself that can now achieve it. Because really, when we want to grow, when we want to achieve abundance or prosperity, whatever that is, you have to become a new version of who you are in order to achieve it. You kind of have to leave that person behind that feels stuck and feels stagnant. And so I love to do it only for about 6 months to a year ahead of
Hmm.
time for clients because things change so quickly and we don't even know what's happening.
Yeah, so what you're basically saying is that like it's not one place for like your whole life that you're supposed to be in, that like you can be thriving in different places throughout your life based on what it is you're wanting to focus on in that part of your life. Yes.
A whole 100%, especially because there are places that can be great for your career, but really crappy for your sense of home
Mm.
or poor for your health. So, not every place is going to be perfect, and it's important for you to have discernment and sovereignty because this is your life. So, you get to choose how long you want to stay somewhere based on that particular goal.
So what if you want it all? Like, is there a place that can give you everything?
Not really. It's very rare for a person to have it. I think, every place has pros and cons, and we're talking energetically and physically, climate wise, economically, everything can shift. And here's the
Yeah.
other thing you have energy, right, based on your chart, but the people around you, if you have a spouse, if you have children, they have their own energetic timelines. They have their own lines there. The town that you live in, everyone's got their own thing. Every location has its own astrological history. So you have to, again, discernment, pick and choose what you're willing to have and not have.
Yeah, I love that so much. Like, just really, what is the most important thing, and what is it that you can kind of, it's almost like these like sub things, right? It's like having a major, right? Like, what are you majoring in right now,
Yeah.
and what are you minoring to kind of pay attention? And I love that too. But like, say you want to focus on your career for right now,
Mhm.
and the place that you're living in is just not the place for that, for you to thrive in it. But your ability to move is just not also there for multiple reasons. So what would you like suggest or give, what kind of advice would you give to someone in that situation?
Great question. So there are times in which you actually need to be there, even though you want to achieve this goal because you're there to learn something. So, for
Mm,
example, where my husband and I are right now, we've been here in the North Carolina area for about 2 years, and I have felt like my time here is coming to a close, but my husband is just ramping up his. And
mm,
so for me, it's you like even for myself, I'm like, okay, well, this is not the time. I can't really move right now. So what I'm doing is something called remote activation, where is based on an area of my chart that I want to emphasize and where that location is, I try to bring that into my life, either through people, things that I buy, resources, things like that, to bring it in so I can essentially manifest and co-create to get to that point based on
mm-hmm.
the natural divine timing of what I have in my life. So that's one aspect of it. The other aspect is when clients really can't move, I look at their astrological chart and look at what they can do right now where they are. Meaning,
Mm-hmm.
like, let's say you want to completely change your career, you want to become, let's say you were a firefighter, you want to become a librarian. So what I
Yeah.
would do is I would provide you with resources either locationally or where you are now to become that version of yourself, to
Mm-hmm.
essentially trick your mind to either study, to research, to connect with others, to then start becoming that new version until you can move to that place.
Oh, I love that. I mean, it's really powerful, right? To be able to like, because obviously people have limitations, and to
Yeah.
like, especially if you have a family. And I'm just going to speak from personal, like, a experience. Like, I have a craving to live by the ocean, always have, right? And I mean, I'm a Pisces, so like, duh. But like, we have a river, go on the boat sometimes, and like we get to
Yeah.
play in it, but it's not the same for me. But my whole family is here. Like my mom, my sister, my aunts, my cousins, like we're classic Midwestern people, right? Where like your whole family is kind of
Same
there.
here. Yeah.
And I have young kids, and I was even having this conversation with my daughter just yesterday. And I was like, I don't remember what we were saying, but I told her, like, I want to move. Oh, we are talking about the warmth and how it,
Yeah.
right now it's like snowy. We got a foot of snow over the weekend in Chicago area, right, in December. And I'm like, "Well, I just want to go by the warmth. I want to be, on the coast." And she's like, "You're never moving." And I was like, "Oh, when you're 18, I'm moving. See you later. I'm out."
Yeah.
And she's like, "I'm not gonna let you. You can't go regardless." And
Yeah.
because I would never move my kids away at this age from their family, from their friends, and like that's just important to me to have that
Right.
stability for them, right?
Mhm.
And maybe one day I'll just have so I said, okay, well, maybe I'll just go visit once a month, right? Like just keep
Right.
going back and forth. So I guess my point of like with that story is would it be beneficial if someone can have that ability where like maybe their home base is here in Chicago, but then maybe once a month they're like going for a weekend trip if they can, financially do it, right? Or going, for a week at a time to the place that's really going to fuel their soul.
Yeah. So it's definitely something that I recommend. It goes with the seasons, right? Because the planets are always changing, right? So there may be
Mhm.
times that are beneficial for you to go, and there may be times that are not beneficial for you to go. So that is definitely something I recommend. And instead of monthly, I actually do quarterly for most people because things shift on a seasonal basis. Maybe you're really
Yeah.
being called to the ocean on this side,
Hmm.
this particular time. Maybe you're called to the ocean on the other side this particular time. So it depends. The other thing is for people that crave certain watery parts. Like I am a Cancer rising, Cancer sun, and I have multiple Scorpio and Pisces placements. So I get the
Yeah.
water. You have this beautiful view of water behind you. Bringing that water to you when you are desperately in need of it is really, really important. So you can
Mm.
either go outwardly and travel, and even you can do it locally too. There's something called local space where essentially you are the compass and these lines from your own chart represent water placements in your chart. So
Mm.
maybe there's a line that goes to this particular lake in Illinois that
Yeah.
you need to go visit every week for an hour just to sit there and dip your toes in the water to get
Yeah.
you that sort of healing feeling that you need from water. So
I
there's
love that.
multiple different options that we can do for a person who's craving something, who's needing something at this moment. So I
Yeah.
totally feel you.
Yeah, yeah. And so basically the benefit of this is to help you like be able to take on the energy of your goal and almost like manifest it at a quicker pace. Is that correct?
Yeah, and I like manifest, but I also like co-create as well
Mm-hmm.
because
Mm-hmm.
then you get to decide what you want to experience instead of because manifesting is really hard. I know you're very much about manifestation, but for
Yeah.
the average person, they're like, okay, mm, okay, where is it? You know what
Where is
I'm
it? Why is it not here yet?
saying? You know. So with that being said, I'm like, okay, you want this? Let's figure out a way to get it to you on a microscopic level as opposed to this bigger thing. And then because you're enjoying more of what you're experiencing, that manifestation will happen faster, like you said.
Mm-hmm.
So it's definitely something, depending on what that person needs, that we
Mm-hmm.
look at. And if for someone who's intuitive like yourself, you're more aware of it than the average person. I have clients that love this, but they don't know themselves very deeply. So some
Yeah.
clients I use this as a way to know themselves deeply to figure out what they actually want. Some
Mm-hmm.
clients we use to figure out where they need to travel to. Some clients we focus on their goals. It always depends. With my goal being practical, personal, spiritual transformation, it can go any which way depending on that person's needs.
Yeah, yeah. And so really, again, like I'm just driving this home because again, like I said, I'm someone that takes me for astrology, takes my mind a minute to wrap around things. It is when they're in the environments or they're bringing in things from the environments that really are meant for them in this moment, in this quarter or 6 months, like you said, essentially what you're saying is it's raising their vibration. And when you raise your vibration, manifestation 101 is that's when you start vibrating and being able to bring at the, becoming a vibrational match to the things you actually want that you want to be able to call in and what, those higher vibrational things. So that's why this is so powerful is because you're raising your vibration to this level to be able to co-create and bring these things
Yes,
into your environment quicker. Yes?
absolutely. Well said.
Got it.
You're
Go me. I'm
excellent in articulation because I could not put it that way.
so proud of myself. I would love to know, like, how did you get into this?
Okay, so loved astrology my whole life. Um, in 2020, after my grandfather passed away, um, my parents are originally from the former Soviet Union, so they immigrated in 1989, 1990. They came from there to here.
Mm-hmm.
And my grandpa said that he wanted to do so many more things in his life, visit so many more places, and I felt, okay, it's my duty for my ancestors to live my life to the fullest. And I know that where I am right now doesn't feel right. Because I'm the
Mm-hmm.
kind of person that, like, if there's a problem, I want to fix it. I'm constantly bettering myself 1% every day, but sometimes you're capped, right? There's a glass ceiling. So I was like,
Yeah.
okay, let's get myself out of this dome and put myself somewhere else. So I actually had an astrocartography reading by an astrocartographer in 2020. It was actually a very basic one because after I learned it myself, there was so much more involved. But that sparked my, okay, maybe it's not Illinois, maybe it's not here. So was looking at it, looking at it, looking at it. Then in 2022, my husband and I put up our house in Illinois for midterm rental. And
Mm-hmm.
we went to Florida, where I've spent a lot of time in my childhood. And we stayed there on and off for almost 2 years. And I realized, well, that doesn't quite fit. But I learned so much there, so I needed to go there. And now
Mm-hmm.
we're in North Carolina. Again, I feel like I've kind of come to a close, but there's so much more for me and my husband here. So it's a journey figuring out where you're supposed to go. And astrocartography is like the most practical way to put yourself in a new environment to then achieve that person that you're looking to become.
Yeah. Yeah. That's so good. Oh, I love that. Thank you for sharing that story. It's so helpful to just see how you connect with it and how you resonate. So, for someone that's wanting to like get into this to understand, really where their on their graph, their chart is like the best things for them and how to pull it in, what is the best way to get started with this? I mean, obviously booking a reading, right? But is there anything else that they can do just to start to familiarize themselves with the process or help them or something they can implement right away or right now?
Yeah, great question. So, if you are someone that wants to learn about astrology, I would absolutely learn your astrology chart because once you know how to read a chart, you can learn how to read the map. That part's easy. But if you're not that person, my recommendation is to curate your environment.
Mm-hmm.
So, imagine this is going to be a little bit silly for certain people. Okay, but imagine you are a new mom, you're about to have your baby, and you're creating the nursery.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Everything has to be perfect. You want non toxic paint. Do you want perfectly cotton and linen items? Everything's designed for this baby. You're curating a perfect environment in that room, in that home, with the people that come around. This is maybe not the average person, but someone who would be me, right? So your job is to basically reparent yourself in that way. And that's a whole other topic we could talk about.
Mm-hmm.
But curate your environment and not just where you physically live, but I mean like the furniture inside of it, the media that you watch, the food that you consume, the people that you talk to. If anything makes you feel bad, that's maybe something to consider. Hey, that doesn't belong here in my
Mm-hmm.
life. And so when people, let's say, because I know right now, like the spiritual world, people are just kind of understanding it a lot, except for if you've already been involved in it for quite some time.
Right.
They're starting to realize, like, okay, hey, this doesn't feel good. I don't necessarily have to be this miserable in my life. Let's start picking things out, because then it makes room for the good stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love that. That's a great tip, is really just and I practice that a lot, but like really just releasing literally what no longer serves you. But I think it takes bravery to do that, especially when it comes to people or
Oh, yeah.
situations, right? Like that's probably the most difficult thing to change, to let go of, or kind of start creating distance, right? It could be very challenging. And, but like when you are ready for it, you'll know in your heart
Yeah.
because you'll start to realize when you're in those situations. And it doesn't mean that you're better than anyone or
No.
that like they're bad or good or whatever it is, just that you're no longer in alignment
Right.
with what your interests are, or what you want in life. And so there's nothing wrong with it. It's just you have to sometimes be selfish and what's the best thing for you, rather than out of obligation, you know?
Right. And I put it this way, like, we come in alone to this world unless you have a twin, and we die alone. And you
Mm-hmm.
only have one body, one mind, one soul. It's your duty to make sure that it's taken care of, that it's happy, that
Yeah.
it's fulfilled. I
Yeah.
mean, being an immigrant's child, I've seen so many people work, 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 work so hard to get to a new place and do so well. But even so, after all that work, this other stuff hasn't been taken care of. Their bodies are falling apart. They're depressed. They have no spiritual connection, even if they maybe have a religious background. And so I would much rather treat myself. And for a long time, I thought that was selfish. I had to retrain my mind on that. But I would
Yeah.
much rather make sure that when I am 90 on my deathbed, that I have no regrets than to suffer for the rest of my life because of, I don't know, my closet, my friendships, my job, whatever that may be. I don't want to do that. I deserve better, and so do my children and my children's children and my children's children.
Yeah, yeah. And I always just say this too, like you have to fill up your own cup in order to be able to help others in life and your family, your kids and everything. And if you're depleted because you're worried about everyone else or what other, or, other people are going to think about you, or you're putting others above you all the time,
Yeah.
you're not going to have anything to pour from. Like, and it's literally like you need to put your oxygen mask on first before you put
Yes.
others on. I always use that because I was like, because if you don't, you're dead, right? And then
Yeah,
you can't help anyone anyway. So
that's right.
like you gotta take care of yourself so that you can help others. So it's not
Right.
really selfish, it's actually being of service.
Yes,
to take care of yourself first and your energy first, right? And really
100%.
practicing that. So, I have loved this conversation so much. So I would love for you if you have, one last piece of wisdom or advice to anyone on their spiritual journey or just starting off or really kind of dipping their toes in astrology, what would that be?
Um, I would definitely say that the curating environment piece, but even more so, you are worth it. You have to
Mm-hmm.
understand your worthiness.
Mm-hmm.
If you believe in God or soul, this particular body, this soul, this lifetime, you are worth it. Or else, what purpose would you have to be on this earth?
Yeah.
So my tip would to be like, get to know yourself and start really valuing and nourishing and seeing your worthiness in yourself because or else what's the point of living?
Oh, I love that. Thank you so much for that. So, I would love for you to share now, finally, how can people work with you? Like, what kind of sessions do you offer, or containers do you have? What kind of other work do you do, and where can people find you?
Absolutely. So social media, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, I'm loving, and YouTube as well. To work with me, I do have readings that I do one-on-one. They're usually about 60 to 75 minutes with an oracle card pull at the end, as well as a recommendation list, because I always want you to have something tangible when you leave.
Mm-hmm.
And then I am currently working on e-guides and things like that for a person that just doesn't have the capacity right now to do a reading and to kind of figure it out on their own, both for astrocartography and transformation in general.
Oh, I thank you for doing that because I think that's so empowering, right? Especially for people that don't have the resources right now or the capacity, like you said. We're still giving them value in some way, right? Where they can start off on their own and then hopefully get to the point where they can make that investment in themselves in order
Right.
to work with you. So I will, of course, share all of Anna's links in the description below. Reach out to her, follow her. And so thank you so much again for being here today. This was so fun. I've just really loved learning more about this and understanding it. So thank you again.
Thank you so much, Elizabeth. Thank you.
Yeah, awesome. All right, everyone. We will see you next time on the Light Council series. Take care.